Hey everyone, what's up? Isaiah here, bringing you the first devlog for this new project I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. I actually gave myself the month of August to try and come up with a prototype. Today is actually only the third week in August, but I wanted to really just make a quick kind of catch-up devlog for the first 3 weeks, and then in about a week or so, hopefully I'll post another devlog that kind of shows the culmination of everything. As well as get you guys' feedback, be able to incorporate some things there. So I've been working on really wanting to make a sort of Stardew Valley forager like crafting world placement sim for a while now, actually. And then, a month or two ago now, I went full time indie, so I left my full time job. And one of the things that I wanted to do is give myself the time and really the I guess freedom to work on this game dev project. Right, I've done game dev some game dev stuff before in the past, but it wasn't until now that I really let myself dive fully into it to see if it's something that's really plausible for me, something that I actually do want to do in the long term, and keep going with this project. So the project is working title is Lakeshore Campgrounds, right? So there's this national park, right, in the outskirts of this city of Lakeshore, and you are a new person in town, right? Again, not trying to fully rip off of Stardew Valley, but you are a new person in town. You apply to become a Lakeshore Park Ranger, and as a Lakeshore Park Ranger, you would have kind of like free reign of the park, so long as you take care of things, you try to improve it, you do what you can to better the park, right? Which is where like the crafting and resource gathering and fixing and upgrading and stuff like that kind of comes into play. So for the sake of the prototype, I really wanted to try and test a couple things, right? See, one, is this formula something that is interesting, right? Which I can pull in again data from things like Forge or from copious indie titles that have come out and kind of get a gist that, like, yeah, okay, this genre does fairly well, right? People tend to react positively to it. So I didn't really need too much convincing there, but the I guess more important thing is trying to see if not only is this kind of genre fun, but is this a genre that I can make, right? Like, can I put together something small-ish in scope, with some of the mechanics that I would want in the full game. It doesn't need to be like super polished. It doesn't need to be all-encompassing of all the mechanics and systems and things that I would want, but have some of them. Is it interesting? Can I pull it off as a solo indie dev, and really just kind of go from there. So one of the first things I wanted to do is this world is going to be in a grid. So here we have a clip. I've taken Gibson screenshots throughout the process so far, so I'm going to be overlaying them on top of this, kind of showing you guys the progress and stuff as it goes. So hopefully this gives you a good sense of where I'm at with things, and I would love your feedback and everything like that. Also, for it's worth noting that I'm using some placeholder art for the time being. I bought this fantastic asset pack. I'll link it in the description down below. It's Sunnyland by Daniel, who's another YouTuber and content creator, game developer. So if you like it, check it out. It's fairly cheap. I think I paid 50. I think it was on sale, and I paid like $15 for it. But full price, it's like maybe $25, which is not very expensive at all. So you can get that as well. And with the prototype. So for the first week or so, the things that I really kind of wanted to just work on is getting the like core concepts of the game built, right? Like the core system. So you are a player. You can walk around, you move, you can highlight different things that are placed in the world, right? And interact with, trees or rocks or stones or buildings or what have you, right? Like there needs to be some concept of the world that exists around you, and ideally on a grid. So I spent the first couple days really just putting that together, right? Working with Godot, exploring the tile map system that it has, and really diving deep into how best to use what's already given to you, what's already made, to more easily get what it is I want out of it. And I think I did pretty good. So we have a world you can walk around. I'm able to place environment things like trees and rocks and bushes and stuff. And I even have like all of this translated into like a data grid, right? So you can see as I like hover over things, they highlight, they get the little selection box around them, kind of showing that you have focus on this thing. Depending on where you are, it can only go so far away from the player. Some of this stuff, again, likely to change. This is all just for the prototype. But yeah, I think that's going pretty well. And then after that, I spent the next the end of the first week really working on like items and equipment, right? So outlining a very basic kind of hotbar or item bar that you might have of just like your equipped items. You can select which one you want in your hand. You can click to use the item. And I even have an example here where the axe is something that you can only use on something that is like, I don't know, deemed axable. The words are hard. So even with the axe equipped, if you go up to, the doghouse or the statue or the bush, it doesn't react. But if you walk up to the tree, it gets the little highlight on it. You could swing it. You can hit the tree. The tree does a little, shake reaction in response to being hit. And yeah, so it's a really, really like simple, but very, very useful, very, very valuable foundation to everything else that I'm going to be showing you later on. So, okay. And from there, I wanted to actually kind of dive deeper into the items. And one of the big things about the game is going to be like, again, crafting, collecting resources, making buildings, things like that. So I kind of wanted to start jumping into that stuff, right? So, as within the items, I needed to make a system for your inventory, right? So, it's not very visible here, but now your item bar actually relates to like a inventory data structure that I made. So you can have items. They have a certain amount of slots that you can fill up. When you pick up things, if you have a stack already in your inventory, it'll add to that stack. I kind of show that here with the wood. I pick up the 4, and then I pick up the other one pickup, and it kind of gets added into a stack of 5. You can switch between things in your inventory, right? So I don't know if I do it in this video, but I go from holding the wood to I go from holding the axe to holding the wood, and then back to the axe again. Just kind of showing that the systems are in place, right? All good stuff. So going into week 2, during week 2, I wanted to try and tackle the next sort of big mechanical thing that I would need to do, which is placeables, right? So in a game like Stardew or Forager, the whole point, it's a really boring game if you can only go around and hit things and collect things, and you can't do anything with that. So I wanted to work on placeables. So we have little statue placeable here you can pick up, and you can use that statue in your inventory, right? Again, wording is hard, to place it into the world. And I don't know if I show it here in this clip, but if you were to try and place it over something that already exists in the world, you wouldn't be able to do that either. Again, have this whole grid style representation of the world, and so the spots that you want to place an item in need to be free in order for you to be able to place it. Kind of go from there, right? I also this week introduced a couple things. The next thing I introduced here was the backpack, right? Again, so you have your item bar, which is a inventory. I also introduced the backpack, which is like another inventory. It's a bigger inventory, kind of where you can just like store stuff. I think we go into it here. The UI in Godot is really hard. This was really, really challenging, just because I'm so not used to Godot's UI. So Godot uses, unlike, I come from web, right? I come from a web background, working with React, working with HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Building out UIs on the web, I've learned the box model. I'm very familiar with the box model. If you don't know about web development, the box model is a really quick kind of oversimplification. Is each element is a box that has its own border. It has margin around it. It has padding within it, and then the content within the padding, right? UI in Godot does not work that way. Instead, it's kind of like this rect model, like a rectangle model, where each thing is its own rectangle, which has its own width and height. You can kind of do padding with like content margins, but and you can kind of do margins with margins, but then it doesn't always work that way depending on what kind of node it is you're working with and things like that. It's just way more confusing, and it's taken me, still to this day, still takes me a little bit to get used to and really get the UI that it is I want. There's a lot of like little gotchas that I'm learning and trying to get better at. I don't know, seeing and reacting to. But I think overall it's going really smooth. And last in this week, I also worked on being able to drop things. So you can craft things. I have this whole crafting UI, which I go into a little bit more later on. But maybe you pick up something, you don't need it, or you want to pick up something and your inventory is full. You need to be able to get rid of some stuff. So I have the ability to drop things from your inventory, right? Very, very simple concept, but important, right? You kind of need that. And then, so now we're going into the fourth week. The beginning of the fourth week, the thing that I really, really wanted to focus on is trying to work towards this prototype, right? So again, the goal was to have a prototype by the end of the month, something that I could share out. People could play around with it, try it out. Again, I can get that feedback from people, see what they think, and kind of go from there. So I worked on trying to build out a simple little, starting section, right? There's some rocks and stuff in here, which I started playing around with. We have stones that you can collect, sticks that you can get from trees, logs that you can get from trees. You can move things around in the inventory. Again, I improve some of this stuff later on still, so I'll get to that there. And then made more things, started working on just like more things that you can craft, right? So you can always craft a campfire with some logs. It reduces the logs in your inventory, gives you a campfire. You can place it in the world. Doesn't do anything yet, but it's kind of cool, right? And then same for the statue, right? If you collect enough stone, you can craft a statue, place that in the world. It does nothing right now, but it's a cool kind of process, a workflow that I'm hopefully starting to develop here. Later on, I go back and I try to improve some of the UI stuff. So this is where it gets really, really cool, I think. I wanted to be able to tell some light story things in the game, right? Like it won't have dialogue or anything like that, but I would love to feed you some sort of story through items you interact with, situations you come across in the wild, stuff like that. So for starters, we I added in a sort of letter, which kind of is the reason why you're here to begin with, right? You are an applicant trying to become one of the Lakeshore Park Rangers, and this is sort of like your interview test, right? It's like, hey, there's something that you need to do in this area. We're not going to give you all the answers. Hopefully you can figure it out. We believe you can figure it out, and have at it, right? Kind of gives the player the big MacGuffin that they're working towards. I also improved some of the UI stuff, right? So when you are dragging things between like your inventory bar and your backpack, you can see the thing that you're dragging. If it's a stack, you see how many are in the stack, so on and so forth. I think it's just a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit nicer looking. Also the crafting UI, right? I made some improvements to the crafting UI. It matches sort of the rest of the look and feel of your backpack and everything like that, as well as moving the game, which I don't show it here, but I moved like the pause screen to also be a part of this, since it kind of fits, right? It sort of fits that same idea of like a menu. So all the menus will be ideally in a part of this same kind of like UI structure, and from there you can see what you need to be able to craft. It gives you a small little description, a button to actually craft an item. If it's something you can't craft, either you don't have enough resources, or you've reached the limit that you can have, like tools, for instance. I only want you to be able to have one axe at a time, right? You don't need multiple axes. So I wouldn't want anyone wasting resources on crafting, 5 axes that do nothing. So we just blur it out. You can't even craft it. It's uncraftable. And we kind of go from there. And then I ended the week really trying to week 3 was all about sort of, again, preparing for the prototype. And the last thing I did, which I'm very, very proud of, because it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, is I went in and I started to recreate the environment elements that was more in style with the look and feel that I wanted from the game. It's not great. I'm not perfect or even maybe good at pixel art, but I wanted to try my hand at it. Come up with a couple tiles, a little bit of sprite sheets that I could throw into things. So I made my own trees. I made my own rocks. I also have some elements here that aren't in the scene, like rocks with coal, rocks with copper and iron that you can mine, and you'll get those resources that you can craft into other things. We see a little bit of a river, some foliage, flowers and tall grass blades and stuff like that. All that stuff I did, and I wanted to try and focus on, and I think it came out okay, right? It's not great, it's not perfect, it's not the best, but it's not bad either. I think it's an improvement. It's more my style, right? Slowly I can move away from the placeholder assets that I was using to kind of get the gist of what I wanted, and then move towards my own look and feel for the game. So and that's where we are at the end of week 3. We have the ability to technically can complete the prototype, right? The goal that I give you in that letter, you can complete that start to finish. I'm gonna try to work on some things like sound effects and maybe improving some of the art and animations and stuff like that. Maybe add some music, a little bit of like start screen or something. But at this point, for this last week, going into week 4, I'm really trying to just focus on a little bit of polish, a little bit of presentation, right? Making it so that we can actually play this game, host it online somewhere, and maybe make a way to collect feedback, because I would love to hear from you what you think. I would love for you to try it out. When like I said, in about a week, when the prototype is done and hosted and everything, I'll make another video. Would love for you to try it out and let me know what you think. But I'm really, really happy. I did not think that I would be able to do as much as I did in the 3 weeks so far. Godot, I've been trying out Godot engine. It's fantastic. It's amazing. The UI stuff is still a little challenging for me, but even with that, it is still far and away the best game engine I've used, and I've used a couple of them. I've dabbled in a couple of them, I guess is probably more fair to say. So if this is at all interesting to you, please give me a like, give me a sub. I try to make more devlog videos going forward, right? This is a project I want to stick with a little bit longer at least. Again, get more people's feedback, see if I can improve some of the things, expand on it a little bit. Ideally, I would like to see, give myself, I don't know, at least 3 to 6 months working on this, seeing how far I can get in that time, and then from there maybe either scale up, maybe bring on someone else to help with a dedicated artist or musician or something to help with things. But I'm very, very excited, very, very happy to see what I was able to do so far, and hopeful for what I can get done in the future. So thank you for watching this. Hope to see you again. Again, I'm Isaiah. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter to see more progress and updates going on with the game. If you want more in-depth, like written progress updates and reviews and gifts and things, you can follow the Patreon. I'm trying to post more stuff there as I develop things and as I build things, so hopefully that interests you as well. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace.